Hi everyone, this is the Nordic Venture Show, your guide to the exciting world of Nordic startups and venture capital. In today's episode, we're exploring a startup called Steady Energy.
All right, get ready to dive into something really cool today. Clean energy, but not the way you might be thinking. We're talking about heating solutions. Yeah, how to keep those homes warm and toasty. Our listener wants to know about innovative stuff, and we've got it. We're looking at a company, Steady Energy, that's using, get this, nuclear power for heat. Not electricity, but heat. It's like turning the thermostat up on clean energy and getting cozy with it, right? We've got a ton of info straight from Steady Energy themselves, so let's dig in.
The beauty of Steady Energy is they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're all about district heating. One central source pumping heat to a bunch of buildings. Like a mega-efficient, eco-friendly boiler room for a whole neighborhood. And here's where it gets really neat.
Okay, I'm hooked.
They use existing light water nuclear tech, the kind in power plants, but streamlined for heating. Simple, effective, genius.
It's not every day you hear nuclear and think cozy. But this is serious stuff, not some sci-fi dream. Millions of people, especially over in Europe, already use district heating. Here's the problem. A lot of those systems are still powered by, you guessed it, fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Not exactly the clean energy revolution we're hoping for.
Yeah, and what do we get with burning fossil fuels? Greenhouse gas emissions. And that's like throwing lighter fluid on the climate change fire. Finding sustainable ways to heat our spaces isn't optional anymore. It's essential.
Which leads us to Steady Energy's answer, the LDR-50 reactor. And no, we're not talking about a time-traveling DeLorean here.
So what is it then?
LDR-50, low-pressure district heating 50. Catchy, right?
I get it, and it does what it says. This reactor works at way lower temperatures and pressures than those huge traditional ones.
Makes sense.
So it's safer, much more practical for cities, and this is crucial. It's designed to be, wait for it, investable.
Okay, now we're talking.
Steady Energy isn't just about big ideas. They're aiming for a solution that actually makes financial sense, which is huge if this is going to, take off.
I love it. Taking something powerful, potentially intimidating, and making it approachable, practical, they've got a real problem in their sights, a unique solution to match. But here's where it gets even more interesting, and I bet you can guess where I'm going with this.
Get me.
Steady Energy isn't trying to replace renewables like your solar and wind. They see themselves more as the reliable backup when those renewables need a little help. Tell me more about that.
Well, solar and wind are great, don't get me wrong, but they're not always predictable. Sun sets, wind dies down, and suddenly you're left in the cold.
Brr.
Especially during those long winters when you need heat the most. That's where Steady Energy comes in. They provide that constant baseload supply to fill the gaps so nobody's freezing, even if Mother Nature takes a break.
It's like a backup generator for your heating system. You might not always need it, but boy, are you glad to have it when you do. And speaking of being glad, seems like Steady Energy's already got some fans, people who know a thing or two about clean energy.
Oh, absolutely. And not just any fans. We're talking big names, like Olli Sirkka, the CEO of Helen, Helsinki's energy company. He basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, "We needed this yesterday."
Wow.
They're feeling the heat, so to speak, to make the switch to cleaner heating. And they see Steady Energy as a potential game changer.
Talk about a glowing review. And it's not just Helsinki singing their praises, is it?
Not even close. Remember how we were talking about district heating? Well, Isa Lindholm, the CEO of Kuopion Energia, he brought up this really interesting point about biomass.
Biomass?
Yeah, like using wood chips and stuff for heating, which sounds great on paper, right?
Right.
All natural and renewable.
Right.
But he said if all of Finland switched to biomass for heat, they'd run out of trees faster than you can say, well, that's not good.
Yikes. So much
That's
for
it.
that image of pristine Finnish forests. Clean energy shouldn't mean wiping out entire ecosystems, right?
Exactly. And that's a trade-off people don't always think about.
Right.
And that's where Steady Energy comes in. They offer a way to diversify,
Mhm.
not put all our eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
We can still have biomass,
Yeah.
but we need that reliable baseload clean energy too, without turning the country into a giant empty field.
Okay, so they've got the technology, they've got some serious players backing them up. But what about the actual plan? Do they have a roadmap to make this happen, or is it all still kind of, theoretical at this point?
Oh no, they've got a plan and a timeline to go with it. Steady Energy shooting for zero-emission heating plants up and running by 2030.
2030? That's ambitious.
Ambitious, sure, but not unrealistic,
Yeah.
especially given their approach.
Okay, now you've got to tell me more.
It's all about efficiency from start to finish.
I like the sound of that.
Streamlined manufacturing, cutting-edge nuclear engineering, the whole shebang.
Nice.
They're aiming for a solution that's not just good for the environment, but makes financial sense too.
Smart. It's one thing to have a noble goal, but you need a solid business plan to back it up, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I know whenever most people hear nuclear, they might get a little, I don't know, apprehensive.
Yeah, there's some baggage there.
Especially when we're talking about plants near cities. How's Steady Energy addressing those concerns?
Transparency and safety. Those are their watchwords. They're not cutting corners. They're not rushing the process. Their roadmap lays out every step. R&D, building a pilot plant,
Right.
rigorous safety demonstrations, technology assessments, the whole 9 yards.
So it's like a very measured, okay, here's what we're doing, here's how we're doing it kind of thing.
Exactly. It's about building trust as much as building the technology itself.
Right, because at the end of the day, people need to feel safe and confident in what's being built, especially in their own backyard.
Absolutely. Public perception is huge.
You mentioned reliable services earlier, and I wanted to circle back to that.
Sure thing.
What does that actually look like? What is Steady Energy providing to its clients?
Good question.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really interesting. They're not just handing over a reactor and saying, good luck.
Right, because not everyone has a nuclear physicist on speed dial.
Exactly. They're offering complete package, design, construction, and here's the kicker, operation.
Okay, so they're handling the whole shebang.
Exactly. Cities, municipalities, they get the benefits of clean nuclear heat without having to become nuclear experts themselves.
That's huge. It takes a lot of the pressure off.
It's all about simplifying clean energy, making it accessible.
I love it. So it's not just a product, it's peace of mind.
You got it.
So Steady Energy is kind of like, what, the concierge service of clean energy? They take care of everything. Cities can go green without the headache. But let's bring it back to our listener, the one who's, really into this stuff. What's the big takeaway here for them?
I think Steady Energy shows us that clean heating is about more than just like swapping out fossil fuels for renewables. It's about a whole new way of thinking.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's about building a system that's like smart and connected, one that uses everything we've got, make sure we got clean energy no matter what, reliable, and carbon-free.
Yeah. So it's like a clean energy orchestra, each instrument playing its part, creating something amazing.
I like that.
But, when I think nuclear, I still picture those huge, kind of scary power plants. Steady Energy is changing that, don't you think?
For sure. They're taking something that seems, I don't know, complicated, maybe even a little risky, and making it, well, elegant, efficient, something that just like makes sense.
It's almost like they've made nuclear.
Dare I say it? Cool.
You said it, and that change in how we see it, that might be just as important as the tech itself. If Steady Energy shows that this works, that it's safe, affordable, it could change everything, not just in Europe, but everywhere.
A future where clean energy is not a luxury, it's just what we do. I like the sound of that. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into Steady Energy, it leaves you with this, right? Could these compact nuclear plants be the key? The missing piece to a truly sustainable future? One where we can stay warm without warming up the planet. Something to think about maybe over your next cup of tea. Cheers to that.
Thanks for listening to the Nordic Venture Show. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories of innovation from the Nordics.